everybody, and welcome to the Module 4 coaching call. So I'm here with my good friend and co-creator of ASM, Dan Ashburn. And we've also got a very, very special guest. We've got Anne Ferris with us. But just before we get started, I'm just going to remember that I need to turn on the questions. And what I want you to do, so we can do a sound check, and obviously if you can see us, so you can see and hear us, I just want you to post in what module opens tomorrow, and I've kind of just given you a clue. So if you could just type in to the comments and tell us which module goes live tomorrow. Just give it a second to update. 2, 1, 0. Whoa. Okay, so yeah, everyone's getting it right. Melanie, Sam, Kashalan now, it's a really weird name. Chris 55, Liu, Gwen. Anyway, you're all getting it right. You're all saying module 5. Yeah, that's probably 6. Who said 6? 6. You've now scared the living daylights out of Dan because he hasn't actually got 6 finished yet. And actually, I haven't got 5 finished yet because we like to leave everything to the last minute, just in case anything comes up that we need to add in the training. At least that's the excuse we're going to use. So we're going to change what we normally do. We're going to go straight in and start an interview with Anne. But here's what I want you to do. If you've got any questions about the course or for me and Dan, just hold off for a few minutes. And if you've got any questions for Anne, just type in the questions in the comment, put Anne all in capital letters, and then your question. So you get to ask Anne a question. You must be bored of me and Dan answering your questions. So you actually will get Anne to answer them for you. So with the normal, Anne, when did you first get started? How long ago was it?
Now I'm trying to remember. It feels like forever. I was ASM7, so I think that was April 2017.
Yeah, I was going to say that's probably 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Cool. And by the way, people who are asking questions, please don't say, what's your product? Okay, that's the one question we never ask our guests. And I'm guessing someone might have asked that already. I'm not sure. But so the next question is about, can you tell us, because everyone here right now, they're pretty much, looking for their first product, trying to find their first product. So how was it when you started looking for your product?
Difficult. I think product selection, especially with your first product, is for sure the hardest part of the training, really. Some of the other training gets more technical, but you know what you're doing. Whereas with product selection, you're really trying to figure out what your path is going to be. And sorry, I'm just going to shut the door 1 second.
Sure.
There we go. So yeah, I struggled with product selection. I don't know anyone that just goes through and magically finds their perfect, amazing product in one day. I think there's a fine line. So I think it's really important that you find an amazing product. It's something that is within a brand that you could develop, something that fits the ASM criteria and is going to be able to be a profitable product for you. But you also don't want to get stuck in analysis paralysis. If you think you have something that's good, but you just want to see if there's 5 other things that might be better, I'm a huge believer in listening to your gut, going with your gut. That's how I joined ASM. I heard about it. 3 days later, I joined because it just, something got me. And the same with my product. It seemed okay. I got the samples and, it just really hit me. That's another thing I'll say with product selection. If you find something that, or a few things that you think are great, but you're not entirely sure, or it might be something that you're passionate about, but it doesn't fit the ASM criteria, order samples. Get samples, make sure you get samples from at least 3 different suppliers for each product. It's better to order 3 samples of one product from 3 different suppliers, I think, than it is to order 1 sample from 3 different products. Sorry, I don't know if I said that the right way.
Yeah, you got it right.
Yeah. because there's a lot of variation in quality, but I think that's better. You always want to try and get 3 samples. But for me, that was what changed the game, was actually seeing the samples.
And so, but when you first started looking, you actually found a different product, and you're trying to avoid talking about it, aren't you? You
I'm not. I
initially
love
found.
talking about it. I love making Rich blush. I don't know if Dan's even heard this story yet. Hoping I can make Dan blush.
I'm always red. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so my first product, and I really thought I was a super genius on this one. I was searching and I came across one product that had a really low BSR, was just below 1,000, and there were no competitors. And I ended up asking Rich about it, and then through some more investigation, I found out that it was a patented product, but the patent had just expired. And if a patent expires, which it does after 20 years, you cannot get another one. So it's free reign. And this was a sperm testing kit called Sperm Check. Is it, I mean, you can obviously, the name is pretty descriptive of what it does, but yeah, so I was asking Rich all these questions, and I'm like, Rich, don't tell anybody what I'm thinking about doing. And it was my big genius idea. But I did end up looking into it a lot more and investigating. And yeah, I thought this was a great product. And I got some advice that maybe it could be. I also was advised, because there was only one seller, that it was probably patented. I used to be a lawyer, so I did the patent. I searched myself, but it was a roundabout way to go, because I ended up finding on the website what the name of the doctor who started the company was, and the patent wasn't his name. So I found out it didn't have a patent, and that was exciting. And then in contacting suppliers, because the other thing that made me really excited was this product sold for, I think it was $40, and you could source it for like 4 or 5. So I was really excited about that, but it did not have FDA. It actually didn't need FDA approval, but it needed an FDA exemption, which is basically the FDA saying this is it's not giving medical advice. And they didn't have that, and it would have been a long process. And I could have gone for it and probably been one of the first to market and made decent money, but for me, I thought, you know what, I'm going to start looking into other things. And I kind of went back to the drawing board, and I went back to some of my original ideas and ended up finding something that really worked for me. And in the end, the product that I went with was a lot more something that I'm familiar with. Obviously, I don't have sperm, so but I think that's another thing that's really important in product selection. On the one hand, you don't want to get stuck in analysis paralysis and be searching for 6 months, but I do think it's really worthwhile to find something that you can build a brand around, because it's very difficult these days on Amazon to make, $500,000 a month on one product. Where you start to make money is when you add products to your brand, and when you sell one product, but then you start selling another product, each product sells more, because the people buying one, buying product A, see you sell product B and buy that too, and vice versa. So if you have a brand, you can literally just, pretty much stick your logo on it, but also that's how you create customer lists of people who are interested in you. That's how you communicate with your audience. And that's how you really build an asset that's going to be worth money and sell in the future.
And so, I will come back to that, because something you said, I'm going to pull you up on. But so after you spent that time obviously looking at the other product, I don't know why I can't say it. It's ridiculous. But anyway,
sperm test kit.
Sperm test kit. Okay. But how long did it take from there for you to actually, the product you ended up going with, how long did that take you altogether to actually get it live?
So my ASM course started in April, and I went live, my products arrived to Amazon on the 15th of October. So what is that, 6 months?
6 months. Okay, cool. And so, yeah, I mean, So the thing I'm going to pull you up on slightly is you do a great job of telling everyone like to build a brand around a range of products. How many products do you actually have
I'm
that aren't
expanding the
variations?
process.
So here's
Uh,
the big deal. So no, here's the thing, Anne. It's absolutely amazing that you did that. Like, you know, I'm sure everyone saw your videos and everything, and they've seen your results, and you're doing over 100K a month, and you're doing that with one product. Now, you have got a lot of variations, but for me, the thing that stands out is the quality of your product is insane. I mean, I know nothing about the niche that product's in, obviously, but like the quality of it is absolutely amazing. And how did you make sure, like how many suppliers did you end up getting samples from? And was it, you know, was that one product way above the rest?
yes. So I got samples from 3 suppliers. I started with just 3. So I live in Costa Rica. For anyone who doesn't know, and so it's very expensive. I was on a really, really, really tight budget. I had a loan from family and no access to credit. So, and it's very expensive to ship products here, and the import tax, you know, I was paying like $60 per package. So, I just got 3 samples, but one of them just absolutely stood out to me. And the thing is, it is a product that I use and that fits with me. So it really, I knew as a potential customer, like I was able to see this is way better than the rest. And I think that's a really important point, is to really try to innovate wherever you can. The other thing I will say is when I started selling that product on Amazon, it was different in a lot of ways than anything else that was selling on Amazon. Like the product was the same, but there were a lot of features that were completely different, and nobody was doing that. People were doing it off Amazon, but nobody was doing it on Amazon, and I sort of saw the potential for that and went for it. Rich and I were talking the other day actually about a friend who's looking into doing something that I suggested. So amazing. Just kidding, but that she's looking into, and it sells really well on Etsy, and there's people selling this product that she could source really cheaply for a lot of money. And one of the things Rich said was, if you know something that's doing really well on Etsy, you know that there's a lot of sellers that you know they have millions of reviews. It is a sign that it would do well on Amazon. And a lot of times, you know, I think a lot of times on Amazon, there's a lot of lower quality products, and you know, but there's a market for really well made, really high quality things, whether they're you know less expensive or more expensive. I think people are looking for that, and the advantage is that if you make something that's better than what everybody else makes, you don't get stuck in a race to the bottom. And a race to the bottom is definitely not what you want to be in, because a Chinese seller will win every time.
Yeah, I mean, it's it comes back to it. It's the thing we stress over and over again is about the quality of the product. At the end of the day, on Amazon, you know, there are people out there that are like, are just mean and will give you low reviews. But if you've got a high quality product, people actually come out and say it. They'll say, "Oh, this is way better than the one I bought on here last week or last month or whatever," because a lot of people in general don't expect super high quality on Amazon. So when you deliver it to them, you know, it's a really big deal. So, excuse me. So how long was it really before you thought, yeah, this is really, really going to work for me? And that, you know, you knew you were going to be safe creating this big business?
Well, I think I knew I was going to stay and keep developing that product into a full line of variations. I mean, so, you know, Rich is like, oh, you only have one product, but I have 15 variations, all of which I've designed. So it's not just like, you know, they have a design element to it that I've put in. And I think I knew within 3 or 4 months that they were selling pretty well, and that I was going to stay with that. I had no idea that it would start doing as well as it did. I mean, I never thought that I was going to get to 100K a month. When I started Amazon, that wasn't something I was even fathoming. And you know, I mean, I still can't believe it's doing this. You know, I've had such a fun year this year and really traveled a lot, and it's amazing all the things you can do with all the money you make from Amazon.
I love your. It's fun. Like it's funny. It's like 2 years. I can remember back, like when you were first getting started, and you were messaging me and saying, "I just did 15K," and then you were like amazed, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not even half of it. Like it's just gonna keep going because you had a phenomenal product. And you knew that straight away because of all the reviews. Hey Dan, so have we got any questions in the background from members that you want to ask?
So another question we've got is, Anne, how did you know your first product was the one, other than the ASM criteria?
My gut, you know, and I didn't really know I was interested in it, and I wanted to see what the samples were going to be like, because I had my own perspective of, I thought that what was being sold on Amazon was crap, and I knew people off Amazon were making these that were not crap. So I was curious to see, and I got samples, and of course the sample that I liked, it's 3 times the price that you can get a crap sample from, which is why everyone on Amazon is selling crap. But as soon as I held it, I just knew, for me it was like, yes. I don't think that's always the case, but I think most of the time you have a little.
And do you know, I think a way of sort of putting some structure around that, Anne, is, I know what you sell, I know the brand. Obviously, it's a brilliant brand, brilliant product, but you are your customer. I think that's what it comes down to. Is you knew it was right because you are the customer. You understand the pains, you understand the benefits, you understand what solution or what problem this product's solving, and therefore you're able to go to a level of depth in product tuning with that product and developing that product, than just picking something random on Amazon that you don't really know the products, don't really know the audience or the customer base you're serving. So I think for you, it probably felt right because you are the customer of that product and knew exactly what you wanted in that product.
Yeah, I think that's 100% accurate. And not only am I my customer, it's something that I'm very passionate about. So that is why, like, I really love Amazon, and when a lot of people talk about the first thing they do is hire someone for customer service. I never hire someone for customer service because I love talking to my customers, because they're people who are interested in something that I'm really passionate about, and I know how to speak to them. So it's kind of, if you're a guy, don't do a really touchy-feely baby product that's something only moms use, because moms don't want to hear from a guy. Just like if you're a guy, you know, you wouldn't like make underwear for women or something, you know. Probably why I shouldn't have made a sperm test kit as a female, you know. But if it's something, you know, if you're super into biking, then the thing is, when somebody comes to you with a question and you answer them passionately but also with understanding, that's when you create raving fans. Not just somebody who's a fan, somebody who's going to leave you a 4-star review, somebody will leave you a 5-star review by every product that you buy, and tell all of their friends. You know, I answer questions, I'll get an angry email, and I know, and I'm like, I understand where you're coming from, because I do, and I've been there. One email, we're best friends, they've written me a 5-star review, and they're buying 3 more for their friends. And I think that's really something you can do if you know your customers really well.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of things. First of all, a couple of people in the background are saying a little bit scared about things that were happening 2-3 years ago. So just as Dan said, and just to clear things up, Amazon's a very, very different place now. Like, you are going to see a lot of comments all over the internet about how terrible it is to sell on Amazon. It's not true. Yes, they can be frustrating at times, but they keep putting things into place, admittedly 2 years after we wanted them to, but they do put them in place. So the latest thing they've done, they just made it much easier and much faster to get brand registry. So that is 100%. That is for us. That is for third-party sellers. But to go back, I do have a question for you, Anne, but I do want to say something, and it's about your whole approach to doing your own customer service, how well you get on with your customers. So and stopped doing this now, but she used to message me and go, "Hey, Rich, do you want to look at this?" And you know, originally I thought, "Oh, it's going to be, I don't know, a product she was thinking about or something like that." No, it was a review. Now, normal reviews are about 3 or 4 lines long. Anne's reviews are about 4 pages long. I'm not kidding. Like, you literally sit there. So in the end, I just had to say, if Anne ever messaged me now, I said, "It's not a review, is it?"
Yeah. And he never read any of the long reviews I sent him anyway. But and aside from the fact that they're writing that, it also, I sent them to Rich because it's like makes me feel good in my soul, you know. And at the end of the day, you want to have fun. You know, if you're not having fun, if you're selling something you're not interested in, and people are asking you questions and you're annoyed because they're not your people, you're not going to have any fun in this business. Like I absolutely love my business, and the reason is because I love connecting with the customers and the community that I've built around it.
Yeah.
And I think if you approach it from that way, and you know, going back to Dan, what you said about that you can think of it as a challenge and a puzzle. I definitely, what changed my thinking to that way, I needed some legal certifications and warning labels, and this was a new requirement from Amazon, so there was no ASM guidance. And you know, it's like some stuff you got to figure out for yourself. You know, we're all grown-ups. And at first I was really mad, and I was like, Amazon's not telling me how to do this. I hate Rich Henderson. And then I went and looked into it, and actually going through the website, I did start, it was like my lawyer brain turned on, and I started thinking, like, putting the puzzle pieces together. Okay, now I need this, and then I've got to have this thing, and then I need to do this label. And then, but the thing was, once I got it all together, it was like, oh, I did it. I'm a superstar. And I got approved. And then I wrote to everybody else about how to do it. And then they made me a mentor because of that, you know. But that was the whole reason. My first failure, that was like why.
We made you a mentor before that.
No, that's not true. It was after.
I think we did, because I'm pretty sure I remember having to, well, not having to message you, messaging you, asking to help someone, and then you just went over, way over, beyond. Like, you made a post about it, you told everyone, you helped people individually get past that like point. And that's one of the other things as well. This isn't just about, this is one of the reasons we love Anne. Firstly, because she lives in Costa Rica, and she knows someone who's got a really nice apartment just down the road from her, and so I go there a lot. But also, like, she's another one of these success stories that gives back. She not only gives back to her community, but she gives back to our members. Now, she was a mentor. She's temporarily on hold right now because her business took off so much. But we do expect her back soon. So if you would like Anne to be a mentor again, I'd like you to put a comment in the comment right now saying Anne for mentor. Okay? That's all you've got to do, and then we'll look at it. But I do have another question for you, Anne. So, question for Anne: what time management advice would you give to a stay-at-home mom?
Well, I am not a stay-at-home mom. I'm a work-from-home mom. I'm a single mom of 2 toddlers who are 2 and 3 years old. I was pregnant when I did ASM, and time management is a struggle. I really haven't cracked the code. You got to ask Dan about that, because I think Dan's pretty good. For me, it was like work when you can. So, and I also think it's a lot about forgiving yourself and doing what you can. Like, don't make a to-do list that's 10, 20 things long, and if you don't get through that, you suck and you hate yourself and you're never going to be successful at anything. You know, if you get through one thing on your list, you know, life with kids is hard, especially if they're 2 kids that are not in school yet. I would just, if I woke up early and the kids were still sleeping, I would power work. They take a nap, power work. I used to put my daughter in a baby carrier and she'd fall asleep, and I would like stand at the kitchen counter and do stuff. And then, you know, when they go to bed at night, but do what you can as long as you do something every day. I mean, I have dreams of, and this is part of why I only have one product, was because it was a conscious decision I made. You know, this year, both my kids were not in school, and the whole reason that I did this business was because I wanted something where I could work from home and be with my children. And when it took off, and I knew I could do all these trainings and I had all this stuff that I was interested in, and I could have grown it really fast. But I thought, why am I doing this? To be with my kids, and pretty soon they're both going to be in school, and I don't want to miss my last, this is my last year at home with my daughter. So I said, I'm going to do what I need to do to keep it growing, because it was already making, more money than I need. And then, when they get bigger, then I'll be ready to blow it up. And, now that's when I'm getting ready to blow it up. So that was very dramatic. But, remember your why. And if your why is to be with your kids, then don't sacrifice time with your kids for ASM. Keep your priorities straight. You can do it all.
Cool. Dan, do you want to ask that one about profit margins?
Yeah, I was just looking for that again, actually. Give me a sec. Yeah, so, Anne, what are your profit margin guidelines? So I don't know who this was from, but they say, I see that in big revenue categories, there is usually big pricing war causing margins to decrease. So what's your view on profit margins in the product?
And what is your profit margin?
I have a healthy profit margin. I don't want to brag. No,
Brag. You're just telling the truth.
Yeah. Well, I try to, my margin is like 30 to 35% after ads, which means I start at 50%, and then I have a product that's high price, so I get a lot of returns. And I'm spending more on ads this time of year. But my feeling is that is the benefit of looking for something where you can innovate, because my product was different. I charge $20 more than most people charge in my category, because mine is better and because my branding is better. If you put the time and effort into branding, into your images, into creating brand assets, YouTube, Instagram, that takes time and it takes effort. But if you do it, you can charge more and people will pay more, just like you pay more for Nike shoes and Payless shoes. They're all made in China. They're all the same shit, but you like the Nike logo. Nike put their hours in branding. So I don't look for things where the top two people might have $300,000 a month in revenue. You're not gonna get there. You don't have those reviews. And if everybody else has nothing and your profit margin is 20% before ads, you're gonna be making $2 a product or losing. So I would say you really wanna shoot for 40% before you figure in ads and stuff. If you can get something that's got 40%, you'll be safe to have money to spend on ads and make that money.
Cool.
Put it in your pocket.
And I do have one more question for you, and then we'll let you go. But I did want to tell you that we had a load of people going, and fermenter, and fermenter, and fermenter. And then my favorite question I think I've ever seen, ever, in 4 years of doing these calls all the time. And that is, where is it? I've just lost it. There it is. It's from Des. Is that Des Roy by any chance? But here's the question from Des. Is Dan a stay-at-home mom?
I have two young boys. I have a 3-year-old, or a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. So
cool.
And a lovely wife.
And a lovely wife.
In charge of all three of you.
Yeah, she's above, for sure. Okay, Anne, I've got one more question, and then we'll let you go. We know you're super busy, and we're so happy you could join us. But obviously, everyone on this call, excuse me, they've only been here, they've been doing this for about 3-4 weeks. So they're really, really at the beginning. But for those people who might be feeling overwhelmed or especially left behind, what advice do you have for them?
First of all, I know everybody who goes through the course, including myself, felt like, oh, if I'm not doing it 1 module per week, I'm behind. And basically no one, unless they're, 22 years old, got a bunch of Adderall and don't have another job, no one's going at 1 module per week. So you go at your pace. Better to make smart decisions and take longer. Yes, it took me a few months longer. I was behind most of my ASM competitor, not competitors, ASM, what's the word? Colleagues, classmates, that's the word. I was behind most of my classmates at first, but because I spent the time to get a really good product, I was definitely one of the first to hit, 50K or whatever. So there's no timeline. Feeling overwhelmed, I think is super natural. I felt overwhelmed all the time. I still do. I still have no idea what I'm doing. I still guesstimate most of my business, as we Dan both know. But you have to believe in yourself. You have to really, I know it's all this mindset bullshit sounds really hippy dippy. And that that's for fairy angels or something, but it really is true. You just have to think to yourself, I'm going to make an ASM. I'm going to make a successful Amazon business. I don't care how long it takes me. This is what I'm going to do. And I know that I can do it. And then that when you come up against a challenge, rather than saying, oh my God, I can't do this, it's too hard, you come at it from a place of, I've got this. I know I can handle this. What is the way that I can work through this problem? And come at it from a positive standpoint instead of a negative standpoint. And then you'll have more fun, and I think you'll be able to work through things faster. But you can do it. All of you can do it and make millions of dollars and harass Rich and send him loads of private messages every day.
First of all, thank you so much for joining us. It's always an absolute joy having you on a call. It's not just that you impart knowledge and you encourage people, you're also a lot of fun. And you should get to know her. Yeah, sorry about that. But she lives in an absolutely beautiful place. And there's an apartment block just down the road from her that's absolutely fabulous, where I used to do calls from when I didn't have to be stuck in freezing cold England. But we'll have to see if I can make a trip out there in January. So yeah.
Drunken coaching calls.
Huh?
Drunken coaching calls.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. And she's already, God, she drops me in it so much. So let's just say one call we had, Anne was the guest, but we did it from the balcony in the apartment I had in Costa Rica. So we sat there and Anne goes, it's 2:00 in the afternoon in Costa Rica, so it's beer time. So she goes, we're going to have a beer. And I went, well, I'm going to be on a call. We're on a call. And she went, well, you can hide it. So I hid it behind. And of course, that's exactly what Anne did. You see what Anne just did right there? That's what she did, except it was a can of beer. And then I went, I basically tried to pretend I wasn't drinking beer. And it was just one. And Anne literally went, what are you saying, Rich? You are drinking beer too. So that's what friends are for. I am definitely not drinking beer now, just so we're clear. But thanks so much.
Sort yourself out, Rich. Take yourself a Guinness.
I wish. Anyway, so we do go away. We have to get rid of you. So thank you so much. We do appreciate it. You're awesome. Everyone in the background shouting, giving you a big shout out and stuff. And we do need to talk about that mentor thing. But anyway, thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
All right. Good luck, everybody.
Cheers, Anne. See you soon.
Bye,
Right, so we can move back to our normal schedule now, and Dan's got a topic to talk to you all about, especially regarding Module 4. So Dan,
yeah, cool. So guys, you have potentially started Module 4 this last week and started to look at how we use marketing for Amazon to set ourselves up for the future, build a brand based on a foundation of an audience, and then start to build a list of subscribers that is going to help and aid us in launching our products on Amazon. Now, the first thing to state, to Anne's point of getting overwhelmed, is yes, there is a lot to do. This business is simple, but it's not easy. It's simple, but not easy. There is work you have to put in. And that, look, if you're following the program, we've laid out exactly what that is for the shortest and fastest way to success. So one thing I'd say to you is, as you're going through Module 4, take one thing at a time. There is a lot you could be doing, as I talked about in one of the modules, but one thing that you need to do to move forward in the program. And that's the only thing you should be thinking with at that moment in time when you're maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed. And that's what I want you to think with when looking at Module 4. There's a lot going on right now. Many of you, we're still at the point of product selection and trying to figure out which product you should launch. You're looking through the numbers and probably getting that analysis paralysis that comes from a computer screen and BSRs for 4 hours at a time. But I really want you to remember what Anne said there and what I mentioned around sort of thinking about who your customer is and who that audience is that you're serving, and what range of products could you release to serve that audience. I would advise starting with something that you are interested in, and if you see yourself as the customer, that can often be the sort of secret sauce to really understanding what products go after and what customer and what audience you're serving. The reason I mention this is as we go into module 4, that understanding of who you're serving, what audience you're serving, what customer you're serving, the use case of your product, what problem you're solving, what solution your product delivers, is really going to set you up for success when it comes to developing out a brand and a brand communication around the brand, the tone, the voice of the brand that communicates with that customer, because you have a really good understanding of who it is you're speaking to. And then when it comes to your Facebook audiences, as you might have picked up already in module 4, using the Facebook Audience Insights tool, you're going to have a lot better understanding of the types of places that your customer is hanging out, eating at, buying clothes from, the type of brands like fashion brands they're using, maybe the type of shops like supermarkets they're shopping at, or indirect competitors brands they're following, or even competitors brands that are much bigger than you are right now online. You'll have a really good idea of who they are to start honing in that audience targeting ability. Now, I can't stress enough that you're most likely 6-8 weeks away from launching your product minimum, probably even 90 days at this point, especially if you're still looking for a product. So it's going to be well into sort of the new year, January, where we start to actually launch this product. But don't skip on starting to do that audience research now. The better you understand your customer and your audience and who it is you're serving, the more detailed you understand their pain points. Sitting and reading all of your competitors' reviews for a day, for instance, will really dial you into those pain points. Joining those Facebook groups, as I suggested, watching YouTube videos on the subject or the sort of the topic that your product's involved in. Let's say you have a kitchen item that's a certain type of cooking, then just go and watch the YouTube videos around that type of cooking, read the comments on that YouTube video, and really understand who you're targeting. And then once you've got your brand developed out, so maybe by now you're starting to sort of look at your brand logo, get that designed with Fiverr or 99 Designs. You've got an understanding of who that customer is, and you're starting to sort of write maybe a bit of an about me for your Facebook page and get that brand page set up. Start testing small as soon as possible. As I walk through in module 4, competitions are a really great way to test small but test fast, as they're an attractive offer that will attract our ideal customer, our type of customers that we're going after, that we can then use and leverage later down the line. But the quicker you start testing, the quicker you start learning. And there's a big term in marketing called test and learn. And the idea is to test and learn small, but test and learn fast. And then once you find something that works, scale it quickly. So by scale it quickly, if you find that a certain audience works really well, and you've got the description, your Facebook ad right, the language you've used is the right language, and people are engaging with it, and you're seeing that you're generating subscribers into ManyChat affordably within budget, and the results are just getting better, then you want to start to increase the budget on that ad slowly but surely. Adding 50% each day is a good way of going at it. So if you start with $5, move the next day to $7.50 for that day, and start scaling what's working. As you go through this, you've probably heard me talk a lot about mindset, and success is often found in clarity and action. Momentum has a big factor towards success. But 80% of the things you test in this test and learn on Facebook, so 80% of the things you test small on Facebook aren't going to be that effective, but the 20% of things that will be really effective. And then once you find something effective, you really want to scale that quickly. So as you're going through module 4, it may seem a bit more overwhelming. We're talking about Facebook advertising, Facebook pages, ManyChat. We're setting up flows and automations, as you will have seen if you've got through module 4 already. I want you to just take a breath and understand that all you have to complete is the next action. And it always comes back to who is the audience you're serving, who is the customer that's buying and using your products, and where are they hanging out. And before you even open up that computer screen, maybe get a notepad. I still, even though I'm a complete geek when it comes, I still work out of a notepad, because I find that committing that thought to paper using a pen is a lot more effective for the thought process. And then I take it to a task management application on the computer. But start writing down sort of who's my customer, where are they hanging out, and start using the internet to search and find those customers. So in doing that, take notes of the language they're using, take notes of feedback that they're giving, take note of maybe trends in sort of hashtags on Instagram, for instance, of the types of products that are showing on that hashtag, and try and get a really, really good understanding. So as much as focusing on picking the product, absolutely we need to get that done. We then need to find a supplier and get that product sourced. Alongside that, I want you to have a constant thought process around who the customer is, and start testing now. You'll know that in the training I advise 4 to 6 weeks before launch, really start focusing on building that subscriber list. But right now we're probably 90 days out minimum with production and shipping time. But I want you to start testing small. As soon as you've made that decision on the product, as soon as you've got that idea for the brand and you've started the development of that, as soon as you've used your ASM sourcing bonus and you're waiting on prices to come back, then jump in and use that time to test and develop that audience out. Because building an audience, building your own list of subscribers is one of the safest and securest ways to future-proof your brand and your business. As things change, as they always do, Google, Facebook, Amazon included, there's rules are changing all the time, and we are ahead of the changes. That's why you're part of ASM and why you have the community behind you. But things do change. When you've built your own subscriber list, you have the power to direct, influence, and control that traffic however you want to. So if you're finding that you need to pick up sales a little bit, then you can put a promotion out to your own subscriber list, and using that promotion, increase sales velocity and regain that rank. So we're going to get into all of this in module 6, but right now the message is take one step at a time, really focus on who the customer is. Assign some time in your, I was going to say diary, but I get told by the Americans it's a calendar. Assign some times in your calendar to put some effort into researching who the customer is, and then start testing little tests here and there, $5 tests, $10 tests here and there, and start seeing what works. And as soon as you find that 20% of what works, scale it quickly. So that's my message for you this week, is to test and learn quickly and then scale what's working without getting too overwhelmed.
Yep, absolutely. And like, I just want to say something, like one of the main reasons we brought Dan in was because of these advanced strategies about building audiences and launching a product. And we've just actually launched a product using his strategies. And not to like belittle Mike, it's way better than Mike's.
You can't say that.
No, I'm only kidding. I mean, it's just different, but it's a lot more advanced. So, you know, obviously if any of you on here are ASM 10 or before, and you know you're ready to look at all this new training, definitely go through it. Starting now, because module 4 is basically like how to be ready for your launch. And for ASM11 members, I know you're not ready to be there yet, but it's kind of like having the perfect safety net. You know, you're going to find your product, you're going to order your product, and it's like you can believe, because, you know, at the end of the day, the launch strategy we've got now is better than any we've had before. It's better than any other we've seen out there. So you can be, you know, it's like I say, it's a safety net. You know, it's there for you. If, you know, things don't go great, you know, the launch will rectify that. If it takes you longer to find your product, the launch will rectify that. You know, it's so easy now, and I get it. And I wish I'd take myself saying what I'm about to say right now, the first time I ever did a coaching call, because it hasn't changed since. It's always the same. And that is that, you know, and I've said it multiple times, said it last week, and I know a lot of you on this call are feeling left behind. You're feeling frustrated. You're feeling overwhelmed. You know, it's the question I asked Anne. And there's no way we can, you know, magically make you feel better. But, you know, you just have to believe. At the end of the day, you know, we talked about the why. I'll talk about it very, very quickly at the end too. But like re-examine that. I'm hoping you've got it in a picture next to your computer right now and you're looking at it. And re-examine your why, get focused again, and just keep moving. Um, it is complicated. You know, I don't apologize for how many times I said during module one, this is the most time consuming and frustrating part of this process. Once you get through that, and Anne used a great term, which was the old analysis paralysis. You know, you've got to keep moving forward. If you follow everything in the training, if you find a product that matches all the criteria, you find a supplier, whether you do it yourself or you use, you know, our amazing supplier bonus, where we actually go and find you suppliers for you, get that done and get your product ordered and get it launched. It doesn't have to be this week. It doesn't have to be next week. Heck, it doesn't even have to be next month. You know, this is not, we used to say it a lot, and I think we don't say it as much anymore, but this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You're looking at building a real business. This is not just like some gimmicky trick that works for, you know, the next month and then it's all over. This thing is real. You've seen too much proof, you know, of all the students that have been through us that are doing such, you know, such amazing things. And unfortunately, like, we only ever seem to show you the people that are doing 100K and above. You know, you look at all the people that are doing 10K revenue, 20K revenue, you know, at a 25% profit margin, they're making, whoops, like a 5K a month clear profit. And it's like, that's an insane amount of money for like a new business and starting from scratch. No other business does this. When we talk to people in other industries, whether it's at gatherings or, you know, wherever you meet them in a pub, and they're like high flying executives of big business, and you talk to them about Amazon and starting a business on there, and they just don't believe it. They can't believe, like, someone like Anne, for instance, can start a business with no experience whatsoever, and within like 9 months be at 100K. It's beyond their grasp, and it's just the perfect system. And you've got this perfect support system with you too. You know, it's not just me, Dan, Mike, Jason, Matt. You've got the mentors. The mentors are, for me, as important, if not more important, than the training itself. They're so important to everyone. They're there to hold your hand. They're there to encourage you. That, you know, things will go wrong. Dan said it earlier. Like, something's going to go wrong. You're going to hit road bumps. That's what they're there for. And even the other members pitch in because it's a family. And I'm sorry, I do get carried away with this kind of stuff because I believe it so much. I'm so passionate about it because I want everyone who's on this call and everyone who's watching the recording or everyone who doesn't even bother. I don't know how they're going to hear this, but I want you to succeed more than anything else. And it's, you know, use it, say it's an ego thing. Okay. You guys succeeding makes me feel good, makes me feel clever, smart, or whatever, you know, and then that's it. If that's what it takes for you to believe this, then that's fine. But I desperately want you to succeed. I love seeing success stories. When Anne first started, you know, and she was like, even going back, she was getting 5K a month. Oh my God, I've hit 5K. I got my 5K badge. And she was so excited. Admittedly, she's still really excited, like, about everything. She's awesome, but it's so important. It's so important that you try not to feel frustrated. Keep moving forward. Look at your why. Remember why you're doing this. You know, it's so, what did Anne say? Hippy dippy. I'm with her completely on that, right? As I said to you when we talked about the why, I can't deal with that stuff. Like all the self-help stuff, it's not me. But this why thing, it's so powerful. You might not think so now. Anne recognized it. Anne said it. She brought it up when she was talking, you know, because she remembers going through that process, putting her why, in other words, pictures of her kids next to her computer. So I don't want you feeling frustrated. You don't have to do this week, next month. Do it at your own pace, but do it. And keep Anne's comment about time management. Like, I could put Dan on here and he could probably talk your ears off for 2 hours and give you the most concise, immaculate way of managing your time. But here's the thing. The most critical thing is that you do something. I don't care if you do 15 minutes, but like, just pop on, watch one video, but try and do it on a regular basis. If you start doing something on a regular basis, it will become habit. And, you know, we're all here to help you. And I'm going to get off my high horse now, or whatever it is I'm on, soapbox, podium, whatever you want to call it. But I just, believe me, I desperately want you to succeed. You can succeed. We've all said it to you and said it to you. All you've got to do is believe in yourself and keep moving forward, and you will succeed. Okay. So now we're going to answer your questions. Dan, do you want to do yours first?
Yeah, sure. Give me a second. We'll jump over onto my sheet.
On the hop in there.
So, cool. Let's dive in then. So we're going to try and pronounce the handles on the names again. So Gwen, yes. In regards to creating a competition that someone wins 4 or 5 different products, would you get those products from your supplier? Gwen, no. And I realized that maybe I need to be clearer on that. So I'm actually going to update that. All you do, it doesn't have to be from Amazon. It doesn't have to be from, it can be from Amazon or a website. Find the products that are attractive, that are a high perceived value, but are aligned with your customer. Don't go after shiny objects like an iPad or an Amazon voucher. Don't go after anything that's very giftable because you'll attract the wrong type of subscriber. But all you do is when you announce the winner, you get their shipping address and you order it from wherever you found it and have it sent direct to them. The easiest way is Amazon, obviously. So if you can find a product on Amazon, then you just put your competition winner's shipping address in the delivery and you order it from your own Amazon account. In one that I've done recently, we couldn't find the product we wanted on Amazon. So we found it on I think we found it on Google Shopping. And then we've just shipped the products from that website to the competition winner. So no, don't go to China because it'll slow you down. You want to really go for the best are indirect competitors' brands. So if we're releasing a taco holder, for instance, as I cover in module 4, all of those supporting products around it make for the perfect Taco Tuesday evening, as I came up with. They were just pulled off Amazon, those products. So what we'll do in announce that is actually still live. I need to stop that competition. But when we pull that competition winner, we'll just order those products from Amazon and have them shipped direct. So I hope that helps. Okay, again, regarding the creating competition, how do you send the prize to the winner? I think I just covered that. You order it from the website and just put their shipping address in as the recipient. Okay, next question. Ellen, can you please elaborate on what trial order exactly is? Okay, so the theory behind a trial order is to set the expectation with your supplier that you are interested in placing larger orders. But before you can do that, you want to place a trial order that allows you to test the quality of the product and ensure the product works for your customers or ensure there's demand for the product. So what that's allowing you to do is flip the power in the conversation a little bit to say, if I will place orders with you and we will grow together and I will place larger orders, as long as this product is the quality you say it is. And yes, we're going to do quality inspections. And if you use your ASM bonus, you get that included. But I want to test this product with my market. So I'm going to place a trial order first. What it also does is shows your suppliers cards in showing you what the volume pricing looks like. So when you come to place your actual order, which we're calling our trial order, we've got a negotiation point to negotiate from. So generally volume pricing is cheaper, obviously. With volume becomes economies of scale and better pricing. So once we get that pricing down on paper, we can then negotiate off that and say, well, for this trial order, can I have that pricing? And it opens up a number of different negotiation strategies, but really sort of allows you to be a main player, set the expectation that you're a serious buyer. Because imagine these suppliers get thousands of inquiries from Western buyers every single day, most likely, especially the bigger ones. So how do we stand out and let them know that we're serious about placing an order? So I hope that helps. Deepak, I have inventory of 2,000 new products in transit and should reach in 1 to 2 weeks. My question is related to the QR code and ManyChat usage of it. In my product insert, I've given www.abc.vip page for 30% discount on my website, and I have a form which is linked to Aweber. How to use the QR code now? Okay, for this order, Deepak, don't worry about the QR code. A web address like www.mybrand.com/offer still is very effective. In some markets, that web address might even be more effective than a QR code. You have to think about the customer that you're serving, especially if it's an older demographic customer than a web page. And as we get into more advanced testing in our second, third, fourth product order, you might consider including both on your product insert and then tracking which one gets used more through the various tracking applications, and then prioritizing which one gets used more. So Deepak, my feedback there would be, don't overthink it. You've already done it. Let's push forward, get that product selling. And then on your next batch, you can consider how you might change that product insert. And with Aweber, okay, so what you could do there, because while the QR code really doesn't matter, because you've obviously used a web address rather than a QR code, if you wanted to circumvent Aweber, so if you wanted to actually take them into ManyChat, instead of taking them into Aweber, which for everyone on the call is an email client, the reason you would do that is because we know that Facebook Messenger has 10 times the open rate, which means the people we capture into ManyChat are going to be 10 times more effective than capturing them in email, because 10 times more people are opening the messages. All you would need to do, Deepak, is use the growth URL. So inside of ManyChat, go to growth tools and look at the growth URL tool, and then just redirect that abc./VIP, redirect that to the growth URL. And then you're still taking that person into ManyChat versus taking them to a web page, taking them into Aweber. So that's something you could do right now. And the print doesn't need to change. You're just changing the destination of the URL. So that would work. And if you've got the ability to do that, I would do that, Deepak, because ManyChat's going to be more effective than email for you. Okay, next one, LD. What to do when PPC are not returning any data? Not sure what keyword is working and which. Okay, so not sure what keyword is working and which is not. No impressions, but when I turn them off, my products stop appearing in the search results. Okay, LD, and you probably need some more information on that. Like, how long has this campaign been live? How long has the product been live? The fact that it's not returning any data, do you mean there's no data in the search term report, or there's just no impressions? If there's no impressions, then you need to ask yourself, are you targeting the correct keywords? Is there any demand for the keyword you're targeting? Is anyone searching those keywords on Amazon? That's the first thing you need to check. When I turn them off, my product stops appearing in the search results. Do you mean the paid sponsored results, or do you mean the organic natural search results? I would very much doubt that it would stop appearing in the organic search results unless you have what's known as an indexing issue. What's probably happening is when you search that keyword, you appear in the paid advertising results, the sponsored results, the first 3 units, or maybe further down the page. And then when you stop advertising, obviously you stop appearing. If there's no data coming, you've probably selected low volume keywords and no one's searching for them. So drop that into the community, tag me, and give me a bit more insight. You can block out what the actual keywords are, but put a screenshot of the actual search term report for me and I'll take a look, and tag me in the community. Okay.
Sorry, Dan, just quickly there. Deepak, when you post in the community, just put a coaching call for Dan. Got coaching call question for Dan as the title of the post, and then the mentors will see it straight away and make sure Dan sees it. It's probably the quickest way.
Yeah, cool. Because for something like that, without the actual visuals on the data, it's very hard to answer, but those are the common things you'll come up against. Okay, Savash. One of my top product opportunities uses 2 AA batteries, and I'm guessing upon creation of the listing, I'll need to upload some form of SDS. Yes, you will. I asked one of my suppliers for this, whether they could provide this, and they said no. However, I really like the products because it's exactly what I'm looking for. In this case, how would I be able to obtain an SDS for the product? So the supplier said no. That's interesting. Is this that do you want to supply it with batteries? That's the question. Tracy in the background, I don't know if you've got any insight. Tracy's our resident goddess of wisdom when it comes to this stuff. So I'm not sure you would need to if you don't supply batteries, but if you want to supply batteries, then where are you going to get the batteries from? Because whoever you're buying the batteries from in China should be able to supply that documentation. And if they can't, then that's a bit of a red flag for me. Just seeing the comments in the background. So Sebash, post that one in the community, because batteries and sort of hazardous materials and the whole SDS process, it can be somewhat confusing at times. But I would say if you're buying the batteries from them in China and they've said no supplying an SDS, then that's a red flag. If you're not buying the batteries and supplying with batteries, then maybe you won't need to. But post in the community and we will get that. And so Tracy's saying they can get one made if they have the data, but suppliers should have the document. And that's exactly what my thoughts is on it. Tracy says, post in the community and tag Tracy. She's a bit of a promise stuff. But my point would be is if the supplier is supplying the batteries, then they should absolutely be able to supply that documentation. And if they can't supply that documentation, that's a red flag. And you should be asking why they can't. And I wouldn't be buying batteries from that supplier is where my mind would go. Hope that helps. Okay, next one, Jagannathus. That's an interesting handle. What would be the ideal quantity for the first order if the manufacturer is willing to do less, a lower MOQ, considering other expenses like shipping, inspection, promotion? Okay, so this is a question we always get asked: is what should I place as my, how much order inventory should I buy or purchase with my first order? In module 3, there is a video on how much inventory should I order for my first order. And I go through the concepts of getting the most from what you have. This question, the answer to this question comes back to how much budget you have available and are willing to invest in your first product as you build and brand and launch your product on Amazon. There is an ideal forecasting calculation that you can implement, which very simply works out the target number of sales that you want to achieve, let's say 10, how many days it's going to take the factory to produce, which is your lead time, plus how many days it's going to take to ship, which is your shipping time, 7 days buffer time to allow it to get through customs and get to Amazon and get processed, plus how many days you want before you have to make the decision on the second order. Now, in the example, and this was just an example, but in the example, with a 30-day production time, 30-day shipping time, I think we did 7 days buffer time, and we did 30 days before we want to make a decision or something like that. The total was 74 days. So obviously that math's not correct. The total was 74 days at 10 units a day. That'd be 740 units. That said, I'm not saying you have to order 740 units. If you've got the budget and your supplier will let you order 300 units, order those 300 units and get started. Just understand you might run out of stock and you might have a bit of down period on sales, but that's fine. We'll get the next inventory order in, we'll reactivate the listing and we'll start selling again. So it really comes down to your tolerance, how much budget you're willing to invest, and the reality around how confident you are in your product selection. Go back and visit that video. It talks through getting the most out of what you have. It's more important to get started in this business than it is to get sort of fear of placing the order for the first product. And if you just want to dip your toes in the water and get started, then use the minimum order quantity. And if you're not too sure about the product, you think it would be a good idea, but you're not 100% confident in it, use that lower minimum order quantity and test the product. But if you're confident and you have the budget, you know, I've got you in module 6, don't worry, the launch trainings are very well thought through. Then do that calculation that I taught and figure out what the ideal minimum order quantity would be based on the target number of sales, the production time and lead time of that product. So I hope that helps, but go back and watch that video, because that's one I put a lot of consideration into how to communicate because of the varied different situations that our students and our members have. And I stand by it in terms of getting the most out of what you have, but balancing that with doing the calculation for the ideal minimum order. So I hope that helps. Elon, about how to combine ASM techniques with ManyChat to get views. I don't have a QR code on my product design. I still have 0 subscribers in Aweber, and only 10% of emails are open in MBS. Which tools to choose for me for more reviews and maybe lower monthly costs? So Elon, things always change, yeah? Email is still a very powerful channel. Through ManyChat, I still capture email addresses and then use it as a brand building channel in the background. It's also a backup for me if anything ever happens with Facebook Messenger and Messenger marketing. Right now, moving forward, if what you're doing isn't really working for you, then I wouldn't even consider, go and learn the ManyChat training and implement that in your brand. If you have a URL or something printed on your existing stock, as I've talked about, you can redirect that URL, that domain name, to your growth tool URL inside of ManyChat and start putting people into ManyChat. Don't get caught up on what's already in Amazon. Just think with it for your next inventory order. So my advice there would be, don't try and combine. More think about how you can transition across, but still understand that you've got that email address there, you got that email list there. Use it in the meantime and use it as a backup. But as you say, you haven't got any subscribers in Aweber anyway, so you're starting from the beginning anyway. So do what you can to shift towards ManyChat. And if you've got a URL printed, redirect it. If you haven't, don't worry about it too much. Take them into email, and then you can always put the ManyChat URL in the email, for instance. But look forward, don't look back, and see how you can transition towards that in the future. Healthier Michelle, could you elaborate more on how would you put together a competition prize pack to get it to the winner? I live in Canada and will be selling in the US. Is it best I put together a package of items and mail it to the winner from my home? Or can I piece together a package on Amazon and have them all sent to the customer? I also want to ensure this package will be labeled as coming from my company brand, correct home address. Okay, so yeah, it's quite clear. I need to update this in the video, and I'll go ahead and do that. Thank you for the feedback. Do whatever you can to get the products to the competition winner. So think it. Yes, it would be nice for it to be sent in a box that was from your brand, so that when they open it, maybe you could ask them to do an unboxing video, as it's known, or take some photos of receiving it. However, all they want is the stuff inside those boxes. So if you don't have the ability to have them shipped to your house, put them all in one box and then reship it out, which is going to increase time and cost, then just send them straight to the prize winner from Amazon. And just say, hey, once you've received all the items, would you mind taking a photo of them all together? They don't really care about the box they come in, because to them, it's just another Amazon parcel. But if you do want to put that effort in towards sort of doing your own box, which I think is really nice, then you would have to have them brought to you first, and you can order them from anywhere. And love this pre-launch strategy, by the way. Thank you. Cool. Next one, Ellen. Last week, Mike advised for people who joined ASM11 a few weeks ago to launch their products in the new year instead of this year or Christmas season. Is January a good month to launch, considering people just came out of a heavy shopping season? What's the best month of the year to launch a product launch a product, if that's even a valid question? Yes, it is a valid question. Okay, I'm going to break this down and take notes on this. It doesn't matter when you launch a product, and wait for it. You have to understand that you're fighting what's known as a rising tide. So in Q4, October, November, December, the buying activity on Amazon is higher. More people are shopping on Amazon in Q4 in the run up to Christmas, around Halloween. It's a heavy buying season. What that means is if you attempt to launch in Q4 and with Black Friday and Cyber Monday, you've got to achieve a higher sales velocity to meet the tide where it's at. So all of your competition for your keywords you're targeting, their sales volume is higher. And when we launch on Amazon, our objective is to meet that sales volume or thereabouts, as we'll talk about in Module 6. So if you decide to launch in Q4, you just have to understand it's going to take more effort to do so, because you have to achieve a higher level of sales. So we don't advise launching around Black Friday because of how crazy buyers go on Amazon. We all do it, how crazy shopping is, because of how high that tide is and how much sales velocity and sales volume you would need to achieve to compete. Not only that, your advertising costs on Amazon and Facebook are more expensive throughout Q4 because there's more people bidding on those advertising placements, as people know that it's such a buying frenzy period. So it just generally takes more effort and it's more expensive. So if you're just starting with ASM11, it's unlikely you're going to be launching November, December anyway. If you're really fast, you may get in just before Christmas, but I would advise waiting till January. Enjoy Christmas with your family. Don't stress out over whether this product launch is going to work. And then wait till January. And January is a great time for launching products because of two reasons. First off, when people start spending money, it takes a bit of time to see that, for that spending to stop. It's known as the halo effect. Generally, if you start buying stuff at Christmas, you'll find that you actually end up spending more money on yourself, on meals, because your tolerance for spending has increased. And generally that carries on through into January. In January, what happens Boxing Day? all of the brands move towards January sales and Boxing Day sales. They do here in the UK anyway. So everyone's still in that buying mode. And at Christmas, what's some of the card fillers that people receive? Amazon vouchers. So people are still in that buying mode of where do I spend my Christmas money? Where do I spend my Christmas vouchers? So January is an absolute fine month to launch. And that tide will be a bit lower, which means it's easier and takes less effort to rank those products on Amazon. So it's not that you can't launch in Q4. You just have to understand that if you're going to, you've got to have the stock, the resources. You need to have a good strategy, which you're going to find in module 6, and understand it's going to take more effort to do so. In terms of what's the best month of the year, there isn't a best month. We've recently completed a product launch, which you'll find out about soon, and quite nicely caught the run up to Black Friday. So if you think about surfing, we talk about like the waves and the tides. Think about surfing, we've caught the back of that wave perfectly to start riding that wave. So as you look at your products, maybe it's a seasonal product, maybe it's a Halloween product, maybe it's something that sells really well in the summer, and you can see this by looking at competitors' historical data. You might decide that launching January to catch a wave in March, for instance, is a good idea. You might decide that launching March to catch a wave in the start of summer is a good idea. But I don't want that to stop you launching. The number one thing that's going to get you successful in this business is momentum. And as Rich said, and I think they were trying to articulate, and really one thing I would say is completing one thing every day. So don't hold back because you think that March next year is the perfect month to launch. It's not. But I would right now probably hold till January, just because if you're just starting ASM11, there's no way you're going to get all that done in time anyway for Christmas. So I hope that was a balanced answer and gives you the sort of analogy of the rising tide and what's happening. George, if my selected product is a paper, cardboard, soft tissue based and has the potential to get damaged because of moisture or humidity during sea shipping, shall I ask my supplier for additional wrapping or freight forwarder, or Amazon required additional packaging anyway? That is a very good question and one I haven't come across. What I would do is challenge your supplier on that fact. If they're a specialist in that product type, they're going to have the answer to that. Amazon also on their help pages on Amazon has very well documented packaging requirements for different types of products. So just go in there and check and see what type of packaging requirements, if any, there are for your product. Also, order your top competitors, your top competing products on Amazon, and see how they've packaged their products, because more than likely they're going to be buying from China as well, or overseas at least. So order their products and take a look at their packaging to understand what's going on there. But I definitely challenge the supplier. Your supplier, providing they're a specialist in that product area, is always going to be the expert on the material type and the product type. And then combine that with your own market analysis with competitors' products. You should get a pretty good understanding very quickly. And then I'd also as well speak to the freight forwarder and ask them if there's any special shipping requirements for this type of product. Share your concern. Speak to 2 or 3 different freight forwarders. Some of these people have been working in the business 30 plus years and get their experience, pull on their experience. And I would definitely say if you're ASM11, George, use the ASM sourcing bonus, because our team on the ground in China can definitely help you with that and definitely give you more specific answers. How do we, I would also post in the community as well. Post in the community. There will be someone in the community that's been across that. I've never sold like soft tissue, cardboard based stuff. So I wouldn't know, but definitely ask in the community. Next one, Shilpara. How do we limit 1 free product per customer when trying to build a list for future products? Okay, so you're talking to the review strategy of offering another product free. Now, it's not that strategy is not always going to work for everyone based on cost, and as I talked about, extended warranties and other things are a good way of doing it. What we do, Shilpara, and I plan to include this later on in module 8, I believe, is inside of ManyChat. What you can do is when that customer comes in through the flow and clicks yes, I want it, you tag them, as I taught you in the training. You tag that customer and say they took you up on this product insert offer. Using a special filter or special element within ManyChat, next time you can check if they already have that tag or not. And if they do have that tag, you can take them to a different flow that says, Hey, we saw you already got your free cream. Thank you for coming back as a loyal customer. Here's 20% off your next purchase. So you can still give them something, maybe make them feel good, but you don't have to give them that product again. And you can do that through one of the filtering elements within ManyChat. We'll cover that later in the training. But if you're at that point now, dive into the flow builder and have a look at the split element that allows you to say, if they have this tag, then do that. If they don't have this tag, then do that. So you're checking whether that tag's present or not, and then just filtering the people that it's not present. Okay. And the last question from the training, I understand the recommended first order is 740 units when shipping by sea. Can you expand a little on the risk advantages of increasing or decreasing that amount? So I think I've already talked to this point. And guys, I just want to be really clear. I'm not saying 740 units is the recommended amount. I'm saying use that calculation to understand what the ideal first order amount would be for you and your product, your supplier's lead time, your shipping time. It might be a bit lower, it might be a bit higher. But if you don't have the budget, the confidence, or you're just not willing to invest that as a starting product, then don't worry. Go with a minimum order quantity, get your feet wet, get that product live. And just understand there'll be a bit more work down the road when running out of stock. But it's definitely, I'm not saying it's 740 units. Just use that calculation as a way of understanding what it is for you. And then you make that decision on whether you have the confidence in doing that based on the product that you've selected. So I hope that helps. That's all my questions done, Rich. I think I smashed through them fairly quickly there.
Awesome job, buddy. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to jump into mine. I'm not sure if I'm going to do them quicker or slower, but I was pretty stupid. I actually had one lined up for Anne, and I don't think I asked it, so I'm going to have to answer it. So this is from Despard NYC. So I'm assuming you're from New York City. Anyway. I've been working on my hot product list for almost 2 weeks. Do you think I'm wasting more time than it should be? How long searching for a product considered normal? So if you're on this call, you've probably had this answered 3 or 4 times because we've talked about this a lot. No, 2 weeks is not a lot of time to be working on your hot product list by any means. You're definitely not wasting your time. At the end of the day, you know, we've talked about this. Finding a good product and making sure it's high quality is the cornerstone of this business. If it takes you longer to do it, that's fine. Anne was talking about it, I'm trying to remember what she said now, but it was months down the line before she got her first product actually live. It's not something you need to panic about. You know, we've said it over and over again. It's just keep moving forward, keep doing bits. If it's really getting you down, and like, go away and take breaks, you know. If you've got kids, go play with your kids. If you've got a dog, take your dog for a walk. Just take a break. Watch one of our interviews. You know, we've been posting these interviews. I'm going to post another one later tonight. That's actually with one of our mentors, which is, it's a lot of fun, but it's also informative too. Take breaks from what you're doing. Don't just sit in front of the computer and stare at it nonstop. It's not productive, but just keep doing it. It's at the end of the day, it's a long time-consuming process. It's frustrating. We've said it all before. But 2 weeks, that is not a lot of time at all. And you're definitely not wasting your time by taking longer to find that product. The next one's from Royce Dano 3. How do I know how many units I want to sell a day? I'm only up to module 3 for ASM11. This is a really, really easy answer. Watch module 6. In fact, actually, yeah, no, I think it's actually already covered. But basically, you know, we haven't covered this in great detail yet. And it's actually what Dan was just talking about. There is a calculation that he gave you on figuring out your inventory. And I think in module 6, he'll talk about, you know, the number of units you need to sell a day to get to a certain point. So don't rush ahead. If you're ASM11 and you haven't got your product yet, you will learn all about this. If you're ASM, whatever it is, 1 through 10, then just hang on. Like make sure you watched all of module 4. And then, you know, you probably don't need to watch module 5, although we have changed quite a few aspects of the listing optimization, which you will definitely want to look at. But then in module 6, Dan's going to walk you through everything you do to launch a product. And that will include how many units you sell a day. Jasmine 08, when I reach the sourcing agent, should I mention product tuning? Second, I would provide logo, packaging design. Third, sourcing agent also making a shipping arrangement to Amazon. So I'm not sure whether you're talking about just contacting suppliers or you're talking about the amazing bonus, the sourcing bonus. But the way to look at this is, if you're talking about your normal suppliers, you do all of those things. You talk to them about the logo. More often than not, you're going to design the logo and give it to them. Excuse me. The same with packaging design. Again, this is covered in the training. And then the shipping arrangement to Amazon. So if you're talking about the amazing sourcing, they will help you with that for sure. Otherwise, you just need to find a freight forwarder and connect them with your supplier when you place your inventory order. If all these questions are about the sourcing bonus, then you're going to be given a contact. That contact you are given is a sourcing agent. They will be able to help you with anything. But first of all, they're going to bring you quotes. And the most important thing you do is compare those quotes with the quotes you've already found yourself. Look at lead times or whatever that they're giving you to, MOQs, make a decision. If you know that you like the look, which is quite likely, you like the look of the amazing sourcing bonus, that sourcing agent's quotes and whatever, then she or he will act exactly the same as a supplier would. They're going to take you through all the steps. They're going to help you connect. They're going to take you all the way through to ordering your inventory. So feel free to ask them questions. You know, these guys are true experts. Like we all do this business and we think we know a lot. Nothing when it comes to finding products and everything that goes with getting a product from China to the US, these guys know more than we do by a long way, which is why we brought you this bonus. So I hope that helps. If not, just throw a post in the community and ask the question. And just be a bit clear about whether you're talking about the sourcing bonus or just a normal supplier. Jagan, oh no, I don't know. It looks like Jagan Athan, something, I don't know. I give up. How about Jay Ganathans? Whatever. You know who it is by the amount of times I butchered that. We are based out of India and own a brand. How to register the same brand in the USA? So I assume you're talking about trademark. To do that, there's multiple companies in the US that will do this for you. You can just do a search. If you've already got a trademark in India, it should be pretty straightforward. If you're talking about brand registry, I am not 100% sure whether an Indian trademark will actually work to get you brand registry. Excuse me, that's my dishwasher. But if it doesn't, then yeah, you can get your trademark. You just need to, it's the same as if you lived in the USA. You just need to contact one of the services that'll get it done for you. You can do it yourself. I would probably suggest that if you live in India, that you actually get a service. And it's really annoying me now. I think it's stopped. No, it hasn't. Anyway, let's keep moving on. Shelby L. Casper. I currently sell a baby book on Amazon prior to ASM. Sales are very low. I was wondering if I could get some strategic help on how to move forward with my brand. Sure. Should I sell in a different category or should I try to stick to the baby category for brand continuity? Should I take the book off of Amazon after I get another product going? I'm looking for certainty moving forward that I'm doing what is best for the business. Any guide is greatly appreciated. So you can, by all means, because you're kind of in the baby market already, go and search baby, look for products there. It depends. I mean, like if you say that the sales are low of the book, but if you've been selling it for like a year, 2 years, do you have a lot of people that have bought it overall? Then you've already kind of built some brand recognition. So that might be a way to go. The only reason we suggest that you find a product before your brand is because if you pick your brand, if you're using the brand first, then it narrows the number of products you can look for. There are some advantages, but you know, you're reducing the number of prospects out there you can look for. What this boils down to is you probably need to make a decision on whether you want to continue with this brand. You know, do you want to continue with this brand? Do you want to continue, you know, being involved in the baby industry? If the answer is yes, then concentrate on the baby category. See if you can find a product or even more than one product that would fit, you know, with 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 the book you're selling, with your brand. If you're not 100% convinced you want to stick in that with that brand, that specific baby brand, then just go about it the normal way. Look in other categories too. It's very difficult to tell without knowing how big your brand is. You know, if you've just sold maybe 30 or 40 books over the last year, 2 years or something, that's not, you know, you haven't, it's not a big, you know, I wouldn't say it's a big brand anyway, but you haven't got enough brand recognition and people to make that the 100% focus of finding your product on Amazon. But if your passion is to continue this brand and keep it moving forward, having a book out is no big, you know, that's not a bad thing. And look in the baby category. There are, you know, a lot of successful people who sell in the baby category. Shib SM. Is there a way for me to check beforehand if a product needs a certificate? I read about a member who's required to produce a certificate. This is after inventory was placed. So the easiest way is to ask your supplier. And you've got to remember, like, you are contacting more than one supplier. So if you think there's a possible chance that you might need some kind of certification, then you're contacting more than one supplier, right? So ask them all. Don't wait until you've narrowed it down to the one supplier. You know, contacting multiple suppliers, ask them all, because then you're more likely to get a rounded answer, because you're going to get, you know, maybe 8 or 10 answers back. Excuse me, about whether, you know, you need a certificate or not. The other way is literally, it sounds crazy, but just do a Google search. More often than not, it will throw up results. Don't look on blogs and things like that. Look for official sites to see. But your suppliers will know at the end of the day. And, you know, to make sure that you're getting a good answer, the more suppliers you ask, the better. So you're contacting these suppliers anyway. So at some point, join the negotiation before you narrow it down to 3 even. Ask that question, you know, oh, by the way, what kind of certification do I need? Don't ask them, do I need a certificate? Ask, what kind of certification do I need to sell on Amazon in the US for this product? Because if it does require one, that's going to make them think, you know, it requires one, and, you know, you're going to get a better answer. Another one from Shib SM. I have a question about variations. The primary product has a variation with BSRs for, The primary product has a variation with BSRs for one of the variations. So of the 4, there is a BSR for one color only, lower BSR, not the other 3. I'm having trouble understanding this one. When looking at competing products, there's variations, but all the BSRs are the same. Can I go ahead? Okay, so I think, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, then post in the community. So I think what you're saying is that one of the products, your primary product, you can see different BSRs for the product, for the variations, but not for the rest. That's still going to be a little bit of a sticky situation. If they're all like selling 2 or 3 variations max, then, you know, that's a little less worrisome, because at least you know that the primary product, which one's selling the most. But the one question I would ask is, looks like you're talking about colors. The color that's selling the most for the primary product, because you can see, because it's got a different BSR, do the competing products all sell that color too? Because if they don't, it's still a bit iffy, because you don't know for sure. It might be just, you know, the market might just support that one color. So it is difficult. It's why, you know, we try and say avoid variations if possible. If that didn't answer your question clear enough for you, then do go ahead and post in the community and tag me. George B, nice easy username to pronounce. On electric devices manufactured in China, for example, vacuum food sealers or thermal laminating machines, are they avoidable according to general types of products? Plug into electrical supply, or shall I search for US manufacturers? If yes, is liability insurance required to sell on Amazon? If you are selling anything that plugs into mains power, in other words, it's not like a USB charge or anything, then yeah, you're going to need liability insurance. You know, I could sugarcoat it and say, you know, do some more investigation, stuff like that. But it's one of the reasons we say about electronic devices, you need to be careful. Yes, if it's made in the US, then there's less likely to be issues. But at the end of the day, it's still electricity. Okay, people still get electrocuted. I would say that if you find a supplier in the US, the chances that go down. I think you'll find your liability insurance will be less. You'll have less issues getting certification. But if you are considering either of those two items, they are pretty heavy in my estimation. I can't remember now, although I think I might have used one as an example. They might not be too heavy. But for your first product, you just have to be careful. And, you know, it's all very well to say, oh, I'll search in the US, but I very much doubt you're going to find any US manufacturer who's going to make any kind of electrical product will still be viable after costs. They are way more expensive than China, even when you take into account shipping and imports. But if you do want to go ahead with this, make sure you get all your certification and get liability insurance. Me personally, for your first product, I'd swerve. Another one from George B. In the training, you mentioned that KitchenAid glass bowl could be a viable product. Being a big brand, I assume the bowl is patented. Okay, so I think you might be getting a bit mixed up here with patents and trademarks, but I'll carry on. If it is, then should it not be avoided, or as an big brand, it doesn't necessarily mean it's patented? Can we provide private label products like that and build the brand still viable? So first of all, a glass bowl, unless there's something absolutely incredible about this glass bowl, it's very unlikely it's got a patent. KitchenAid, yes, that's got a trademark, but that doesn't mean you can't sell a glass bowl. But it's a glass bowl. What you should be looking at there is products to avoid under breakable items. Okay, so a glass bowl, any kind of glass item is easily broken, okay, when it's shipped, even if it's shipping in America. So if you go down that route, I mean, that's one reason I would say straight away that I wouldn't necessarily want to go for this product. It's not about a patent. I mean, I can't tell without seeing it, but I mean, a glass bowl likes to have, you know, a specific reason why or item that you can patent in it. And I can't think why a glass bowl would have that. If you do go under the breakable items category in the products to avoid, just remember, you need to be very, very careful about packaging. You need to spend extra money on making sure that packaging is super secure. Because the minute you start getting breakages, you start getting bad reviews, and you'll start getting negative feedback on your account. And that's, you know, you get a lot of returns, your account can be in danger. Again, it's another reason we don't recommend selling things that easily break during shipping. But if you do go down that route, make sure that it's got really serious packaging to protect it. Are the following products too competitive? So basically, I'll read them out, but all I've been given is 3 lots of reviews. So how I will answer this question on the grounds of, are they looking too competitive in terms of reviews? Because remember, it's not just about reviews. But product 1, reviews, 3,228, 122, 321. So by the criteria, one of those products is less than 1,000 reviews. So by reviews, you're okay. So if all the other criteria is all right, that one's okay. The next one is 4,861 reviews, 358 reviews, 914 reviews. I would say straight away, this is more competitive than number 1. However, it's still not, you know, it's still viable. You've got 2 of the products are below 1,000 reviews. So it's still a viable opportunity. The next one, I would say it's probably equally as competitive. You've got 267 for the primary, 2,177 and 5,063. Again, it meets the criteria. I mean, you know, all of these meet the criteria for reviews, but you know, all the other criteria goes together to decide whether a product's too competitive. It's not just reviews. But if all the other criteria is good, then those 3 all qualify in terms of reviews. Zara, I would appreciate if you could share from your experiences how running out of your first product inventory affects your Amazon Seller Central account health. It won't affect your Seller Central account health. What affects Seller Central account health is when you get basically bad reports about your service. That's what it means generally. The downside of running out of inventory is it could, it does affect your ranking. And what you're going to learn, I think it's module 6, is that if you do end up running out of inventory, and just so we're clear, I don't know a single seller on Amazon that has never run out of inventory. Everyone does. But we teach you to close the listing because it tends to hold the ranking better. But it has it's not going to affect your Seller Central account health. It's not going to get your account banned or anything like that. The only downside of running out of your inventory, well, two things. First, you're going to lose sales. But secondly is that your ranking will drop and it will take you time to get that back. Yeah, I've got no idea. Meyer Uricht, something like that. We know you add the explanation about UPC code that we need for the listing. We are from Slovenia. Do we need a UPC code from GS1 or nationwide? And he mentioned a couple of other things. So you absolutely 100% need a UPC from either GS1 or nationwide. Nothing else works. It has to be a UPC from GS1 or nationwide. Amazon require it. Martin Azizite, 28. I think to choose a brand name that does not relate to the products I will work with, but will use a slogan that explains exactly what the brand is all about. What do you think? Is it a bad idea knowing that my brand name doesn't mean anything, but the slogan explains it? So the way it's in the training, like what we recommend you choose something that relates to the product. It doesn't have to have the product name in it. It doesn't need to specifically mention the product, but you're looking for a brand name that makes sense. I think, was it last week someone talked about, mentioned that, if you look on Amazon, all the brand names are just made up stuff. That's fine. That's the way they choose to do it. We're telling you what we think and know from experience is the best way to move forward. So having a slogan is different than having a logo. I mean, okay, so you could put the logo. You could put the logo. Oh man, hang on. Let me catch up with myself. The slogan and the logo, two different things, Richard. So your slogan might explain what your business is, but your brand name is what's out there. Like Nike, it's a made up word, but it's Nike and it's huge and everyone knows what it is. Yes, everyone knows Just Do It, but they have like 100 other slogans that I don't know. The only one I know is Just Do It. And to have your slogan would have to appear everywhere too. I mean, that probably includes on the logo, and then you're going to have a very, very busy logo. So you can have a slogan, but don't rely on your slogan telling the world what your brand is about. It's much easier, especially when you start from scratch. Remember, you've got no recognition to work with. That at least the brand name evokes some kind of connection with what you're doing, what you're selling. That's my personal advice. Last question, and then I'll jump straight into my one job, which is the community helpers. And I've just been reminded about it because somebody whose question I've read out tonight is winning tonight. During the LBR, when do you know when to start backing off your ads and coupon? Okay, so just to explain this question, I'll read it out, but this is about the previous launch method we had. But it kind of applies, so I do want to answer it, and I do want to explain why. So during the LBR, when do you know to start backing off your ads and coupons? BSR seems to be erratic and have big swings, which can take you from first page to second in a moment. Should I ease off my coupon slowly or just pull it? Example, 50 off, 25 off, 10 off. An overview answer is you slowly back off. You get it to a point where you want to be. Excuse me. The factor jump between page 1 and page 2 isn't disastrous. I mean, like, you've got some ranking out of doing this. I'm not quite sure why it's so volatile, but you can't do your LBR forever because at the end of the LBR is not making you a lot of money. The LBR, in other words, the launch strategy, and for ASM11, this is the old launch strategy. It's you can't do it all the time because it doesn't make you as much money as you should be making. Now, I'm not sure where you are in this process, you know, whether you've just started this or whatever, but here's what my advice is going to be. It's going to start backing off now. Reduce your coupon amounts, reduce your ad spend, keep an eye on what's happening. This is going to happen over at least 2 weeks. By the time that's done, what I recommend you do is, if it isn't holding its own and getting sales without all the coupons and the offers and everything, then go and take a look at modules 4, 5, and 6 of ASM11. You know, you're not an ASM11 member, but you get a free upgrade to ASM11. By the time you've done this process, slowed this process down to see what's happening, all 3 of those modules are going to be available to you. So that's what I would suggest. I would suggest you definitely back off, slow down, see if you're holding a rank. If you do, that's awesome, and still go and watch the training anyway. But if you're not, then come and watch modules 4, 5, and 6. And I would implement those with your product and see how that goes. And I hope that answers your question. So that's it for the questions this week. And I'm just going to jump in now. Where did I put the community helpers? And then I've got a few things to remind you about, if I can remember them all. And then we'll let Dan close this down. So the coaching call for community helpers. This week, we're actually going to have 2 winners because we couldn't decide between the 2 of them. And I think both of them have been mentioned in every single call so far. So we figured they had to win. But we'll also still have 3 people too. They get the runner-up prizes of the community helper badge. And yes, I'm going to remind you again, every single mentor has earned the community helper badge before they became a mentor. But so the 3 runners up who are getting the community helper badge is Jay Liotti, Melanie Ulici, and Zinab Habal 80. I probably got that completely wrong, but I'm sure you know who you are. So congratulations. Thank you for all your help. Thank you for encouraging. It might not have been this week, but it's been over the last 4 weeks since we all together. So congratulations. Thank you. And do keep it up. Who knows, you might win the extra prize next week. But the 2 winners this week of the extra coaching call, so you'll now be getting 3 coaching calls with one of our editors, is Zara, that's Z or Z, AARA, and Heather Michelle. In fact, I think both of you asked questions on today's call. So I'm hoping you're here to hear the answers and also here to know that you won the Community Helper of the Week and you get your extra coaching call with the mentors, which leads me in very nicely. I just want to remind you again about 2 things. First of all, the why competition. If you didn't watch last week's call, then please go and watch the replay. We're doing a little competition about posting your why in the community. But if you didn't see it, then do go and watch last week's coaching call. It was a really good call. We had loads of great content, but also I explained the whole why thing, and it is very, very important. We've already got, I think it's over 120 posts on there, something like that. So do go and join in, and doing so will actually qualify you for a prize draw we're going to have for some amazing prizes. And off the top of my head, I'm trying to remember what they were. I do know the first one was the VIP ticket to SellerCon and 2 30-minute calls with Jason Katzenbach. Yeah, exactly. Not me, not Dan, Jason Katzenbach. And there was 4 other prizes too. Can't think off the top of my head what they were, but they are posted in the community, and if you go and watch that call, you'll see them. And I also want to remind you about the awesome bonuses that you're getting. Don't forget about them. We haven't had that many people start taking us up on them, but you get 2 free coaching calls with an ASM mentor. To get that, just contact support. And this is for ASM11 members only. But contact support, say you want to have one of your coaching calls, we'll set it up for you. We have the listing evaluation or listing review, which basically means when you create your listing, one of our ASM mentors goes in, takes a look at it for you, offers you advice on how you can improve it. Again, super, super, super cool bonus. And as Dan will tell you, and anyone else who's ever done this has told you, it's all great having a great launch strategy. But if you have a great launch strategy and your listing isn't great, you're going to lose some of that power. The listing is so important. So the bonus is awesome. We have the ASM sourcing bonus where we will actually go and find 3 suppliers for you. Well, when we say we will, one of the sourcing agents in our program will go and find them for you. There's one more. Oh yeah. We're going to give you $500 towards your ad spend. So when you do your launch and you run ads, the first $500, it's on us. You know, all you've got to do is do the launch, follow our strategies, and then submit the your ad spend from Amazon, and we're going to reimburse you up to $500. So those are the amazing bonuses. Please, like, don't forget about these. That it's the best bonus package we've ever put together. Don't miss out on this. You know, grab one of your coaching calls. If you've found suppliers, use the ASM the ASM bonus. Use the amazing sourcing bonus. I've used them. I've used and the stuff they come back with, it's insane. So don't miss out on these bonuses. They don't go away. You've got them. I think it's 6 months. You've got all of them for. So, you know, there's no panic. But, you know, if you're ready, if you need help on a specific thing, request your coaching call. If you found your suppliers, use the sourcing bonus. Like, take advantage of these bonuses. Again, this comes down to the whole thing. We want you to succeed, and these bonuses will help you do it. So use them. But that's it for me, Dan. If you want to close it out now, that would be awesome.
Yeah, cool. So guys, thank you for another coaching call. You guys are the ones that are pushing forward and sort of committing and showing up live. So thank you for doing that. And also thanks to the mentors in the background. We have Tracy, who I've coined the goddess of wisdom. So Tracy, Elaine is an absolute darling and queen when it comes to Amazon. Joanne, forgot to think of another compliment. And Steve, there definitely isn't a compliment there, buddy. No, Steve's great. So yeah, digging a hole here. But no, listen, genuinely, like Rich and I, we put loads of effort into putting the training, but if it wasn't for the mentors in the community with that real-time active support, this wouldn't be the program it is. And that message for you at home watching this is, no matter what road bump you hit, no matter what analysis paralysis you have, me, Rich, and the whole mentorship team are here for you in the community. So please do leverage and use that. And also thanks to Michael for running the call in the background. These things aren't easy to put on, and Michael's run a fantastic show here. So just a reminder, next week's call is going to be on Wednesday. It's not going to be on Thursday, and that's because of Thanksgiving in the US. So that's 12 p.m. Central Time next Wednesday, not Thursday. And Module 5 releases tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central. Jump in and have a look at this, guys, because like Rich said, as we go through the launching Module 6, it's all good and well launching a product and getting it to page 1 on Amazon and starting to generate lots of sales. But if your listing isn't good quality and you don't have the conversion rate in place, then what's going to happen is you're going to rank and come back down, and then we're going to rank again. So really put effort into watching Module 5. Releases tomorrow. Study that module, get it applied, and we'll see you next Wednesday live on our next coaching call. Cool. All right then, guys. See you soon.